Okay, my next question is in Genesis 4:26, and I'll throw that up here so they know where we're at, and then I'll read it from the text. There's a verse in Genesis 4:26 that says, "Then men began to call on the name of the Lord." I was listening to a commentary that stated this could be a mistranslation because of the Hebrew H2490, "Then men began to call," is actually supposed to be, "Then men began to profane," meaning this is the place that idolatry was put in, or this is a place where idolatry was put in place, which then seems to open up for the time of Noah. What is your perspective on this?
You know what? My perspective on it has always been that the translation was faithful. The word. Let me look up the word here. I believe the word is to proclaim in the passage. But let me check it out real quick here.
The only place I remember hearing this is Missler. He commented on this in his Genesis commentary.
Yeah, and I love Missler. I think he's a great guy, but admittedly he's out there.
So
he lets you know that he's out there too.
Yeah. So what are they trying to say, that the connection between this verse and what happens next doesn't match up, and then they're trying to reconcile the fact that.
Yeah. It's a word that means to call, to cry out, to proclaim, to name, renowned, bidden, preach, and so when you again there's a familiar use of the word kara. That's the word in Hebrew, and again it's just a word that means to call upon. The root itself, let me see. The root itself means to befall or to come upon, to meet, that kind of thing. And most likely if it's Missler, you heard Missler say this?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's Missler, what he's doing is he's going to the Hebrew root. But one of the things that you have to be careful of with this stuff is when you're talking about grammar, going to roots is not always the best way to figure out what a word is all about. It's the usage in the Bible that you want to be looking at, not just the roots. So for example, the word love, the word agape, has a common root with our word for agony. And so I like the idea of an agonizing love, but I would never say that love and agony are the same thing. And so you just have to watch out for this. And the most common way that it's used is to call on the name of the Lord. It's probably a reference to the next chapter where you have it ultimately being a situation where people are turning towards the Lord in the sense of you have a family of Adam that is a group of people who are actually following God. Enoch, Lamech, Methuselah, Noah, all of those guys. And so that's not the whole idea of profaning the name of the Lord. That's a little bit of a stretch for me. It works a little bit in the context, in the sense of the line of Cain, that kind of thing. But that's not something that's not a hill I would die on.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm
Okay.
pretty careful about that stuff.
Okay.